Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. My name is Penapple and today I'm doing a renovation of the 10K build that I did yesterday. So if you're interested in this build, you can download it off of the gallery. My origin ID is penappleYT. This build ended up being like 6 times as expensive as it originally was before the renovation, so it ended up being about 60,000 simoleons. So it's a lot. A lot of upgrades went into this, and so this took me about 1.5 hours, and so overall the entire build start from finish took me like 3 hours, so it was a pretty quick build for me, and honestly it would have been faster if I wasn't trying to go for 10K at the beginning, but yeah, so right now I'm mostly just updating the downstairs. I kind of just really upgraded a lot of stuff. And didn't really change much about it. Like, the idea behind this home is that it's kind of like an eco-friendly person's home. There are these cute little signs that I added last minute when I was doing the 10K challenge that kind of make me think there's like an eco-activist that lives in this home, and so that's really cool. And so I just kind of tried to reinforce that, and then I also at the last minute for the original build I moved it out to Windenburg because it looked better. Even though the lot was more expensive, I didn't count the lot in the 10K. But yeah, so I then also added landscaping that fit the size of this lot better, and I ended up adding, if you go to like bb.show hidden objects, that's the cheat to get to the, excuse me, buy debug mode, then it allows you to find these like the fishing ponds that Sims can actually fish from, and so it actually works too. So I have like, I put a little pond in the slot and it was really cute, and your sim can actually fish from it, and it's like the rare fishies, so it's kind of cheaty, but that's okay in my opinion. You need some way to pay off this house. But yeah, so I wanted to tell a little story. So basically, as some of you might know, I just had my first week of work. I'm pre-recording this a week ahead, so by now, like by the time I'm posting this, I've already worked 2 weeks at my new job. But in my 50-50 build renovation, it started snowing in the middle of me talking about it. Sorry that I'm so phlegmy. I have no idea why. Only when I record, it comes to haunt me. But yeah, so it started snowing and I was kind of like, ooh, I hope that doesn't make it hard for me to get to work, but it should probably clear up by morning. Nope. No, it did not. It did not clear up by morning. It got worse, and the roads were unplowed, and I left so early for work because it was my first day and I didn't want to be late, and I didn't know with the snow, and I have to commute like 20 minutes, which is a lot. And also my area isn't really well suited to like snow, like we don't clear it out fast enough. So that was like, I almost didn't make it to work on that day, but by the time I did, I was super early, and like the whole parking lot was covered in snow, and it was just like a huge mess. It made me so anxious. And then it was fine to drive home, and then the next day it was fine to drive in the morning, but then during the day it just snowed and snowed and snowed, and it just made it so hard to drive home too. So it was really bad. I was really stressed. Like, it was probably like one of the worst things that could have happened for my first week of like work. Like, oh god, it was really bad. Because I felt like, I couldn't not show up to work. Like, I couldn't be like, on my first day, oh, I'm sorry I can't get in because of the snow. Like, it was my first day. And it was really funny, too, because the person who was training me, they were like, oh, I can't get in because of the snow. So they, like, showed up an hour and a half late. And so the whole time I was basically just kind of, like, just chilling. And so that was like, ugh, that was obnoxious. But it all worked out. I'm enjoying work so far. And yeah, like, I still a little bit worried about getting everything done on time, which is why I've been pre-recording like a week ahead, like pretty consistently. I've just been like a week ahead. Oh my gosh, also that's the pond I was talking about, and like rise up on the foundation, it creates this weird hole in the ground, and then if it's outside the boundaries of the lot, it like has like really weird effects. It was really interesting, but here I'm starting to get into some of the basics of the landscaping. And yeah, I really love how this lot turned out. Like, I'm in love with it. Like, it has I think like 14 screenshots, and it's way too small to have 14 screenshots, but I could have taken more. Like, I love how this turned out. It's honestly probably one of my favorite builds. Like, it's one of those builds where it's pretty spot on with the idea that, you know, I had in my mind. You know, this kind of like extra modern like addition to like a rustic sort of feel like thing that just like gives you beautiful views of the forest. And I didn't mention this in the 10K build, but like the first video, but one of the reasons why I went with this idea is because I wanted to use these huge windows that they're base game, and when you have the largest roof or wall size, for some reason those windows are only like 15-20 simoleons. So it's a really cheap way to have lots of light in a like starter or just any money restricted build. And so yeah, that's why that's there, and it also allows it to peek up over the original roof of the log cabin. So I really liked how that turned out, and the bedroom ends up being my favorite. Like, I don't usually include interior in my builds or in my thumbnails. I usually go for exterior unless it's like an apartment, and I've done this like once before, again with like a different renovation, but I have to really like the interior to want to have it in the thumbnail, because usually I'm more focused on the exterior of the build. But yeah, this one was also a lot of fun to landscape. I went with kind of like purpley colors, and it was really cute. And also that porch, so cute, like the little log like benches, and I just like imagine sitting there and like looking at like, I think the sunrise, I think that's what you would see. I'm not quite sure the directionality of this build. But yeah, like I said, this is just like, I had a lot of fun building this one. But yeah, I did have to kind of heavily surround the little pond with plants, just because it looked a little unnatural with the surrounding grass, and so I tried to kind of fix that up a bit, and I think I did an okay job. That definitely upped the price of the lot, just because landscaping can get so expensive in The Sims 4. But I was surprised that it still worked. I was really excited. Like, I didn't think that the pond would still work and that your sim would be able to fish from it, but they totally can, and it's awesome. I also added in some planter boxes on the side of the house, and I don't end up filling those, which is pretty unusual for me, but I'll explain why when we get to that point. But here I am working a bit more on the bedroom, and I love it. And part of the reason why this build is so expensive is I sprung for that really expensive bed. I love that bed so much. Like, I wish we had a twin or one person size version of it. That would be really great. But I feel like this layout is so realistic. Like, having the TV on that back wall there, I think makes so much sense. You know, you can see it from the couch, you can see it from the bed. I just love it. And also that little like not terrarium thing, but you know, like insect container that's supposed to be holding dust spirits or whatever that they have in the game. But it doesn't, like, they don't show up, so I'm not really quite sure why. Also, I don't know if everyone will like that painting of, like, the breakfast food, but the oranges in it are just so pretty and vibrant that I love using it. It kind of reminds me, my parents have this, like, painting of a coconut that they're just, like, in love with. Like, I don't really understand it, but maybe it's something similar to that, but it's, like, literally just a coconut, and it's, like, their favorite painting. Like, they have the original painting of it. That's how much they like it. So, I don't know. They can be weird sometimes. But yeah, I love this desk because you can put stuff up on the little books and whatnot. And I don't know if everybody knows that or not. I wish there were more objects in the game that were like that, because it's really helps you add clutter without adding extra expense in a way. But yeah, I I had a little trouble with the curtains. I don't really like how they ended up, but they're okay. I also went back and changed all of the lighting. Oh, and I added a little blowhorn for the activist. But yeah, like here are the planter boxes, and usually I add plants into them to make them look better, but I decided that an activist sim, you know, like a green sort of outdoorsy sim would actually be living here. And so I feel like you'd probably like actually want real plants, like harvestable plants in there. So usually I fill them. This time I didn't. I don't really know how interesting that little tidbit was. But we are coming up on the end of this build. Like I said, there are a lot of screenshots for it. I love them. It's so great. Like definitely one of my favorite builds. I like all of my builds, but for some reason this one is just like really speaks to me. It's just like really cute. Like I love these like little like stepping stone looking things, and everything about this build is really great. But I really hope that you guys also enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to give me a comment or subscribe, especially if you're interested in being notified as to when the next build is. I do put them out about every weekend, but I hope that you guys are all having a great time, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!